unfortunately, I'm sorry. I know you let down that Paul J. Turner's not here. I know he's your favourite boy these days.
Aww.
But, you go through the boys, don't you?
I do.
How was your new year?
Oh, just fabulous. Nice and relaxing.
What's your resolution?
Oh, I've got to get off my Christmas weight. That's my first thing.
I've been doing that for a decade. It doesn't matter what I do. But I have gone right off sugar. There you are.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Sugar and wheat.
Is there much sugar in fruitcake, Christmas
cake?
So
much. It's funny, one of my prackies a few years ago, he's allergic to fructose, and he sort of knew this. So fructose are fruit sugars. Yeah. And he always had major reactions with bloating, burping, belching, wind, flatulence, diarrhea, constipation, all sorts of fun stuff. Yeah, especially. Anyway, so he bought this organic, spelt, sugar-free, delicious Christmas cake, and he bought 2 of them, and they were really expensive, as you can imagine. He took one to one party, no one opened it, so he took it home. He took another, he bought 2, took one to another party, no one ate any, so he ended up eating them all over the next month, and he had so much pain. Anyway, it was hilarious.
He wouldn't stop. He wouldn't throw.
Oh, you don't throw it out.
And put up with the pain.
Exactly.
Now we're going to talk about fibro.
Yeah. I think fibromyalgia to start with.
Tell me all about it. It's not fun. I've got a friend who's suffering it.
Yeah, and it's something that once people get it, medically what they tend to do is give antidepressants. That's the first line of defence these days medically. And that works with a lot of people. It seems to, because stress can be an underlying cause, so by increasing or recycling the serotonin in the body, serotonin is a calming, serotonin
created by the pancreas?
No, serotonin, the gut. The gut makes about 90% of your serotonin, and then it's recycled in your brain. So it's the calming antidepressant hormone in your brain.
Is that why some foods make you feel good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that right?
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
That produces it.
It is. And that's why also it's different to things like, say, sugar. So sugar gives you a high. So that's a bit of a different thing to when you're getting a dopamine or serotonin release. So serotonin is more about getting the good fats and the good nutrients into your gut, and your brain and your body goes, oh, this is good, I like this. So there's other hormones that go along with it, like ghrelin, which is a hormone that is a satiety. It makes you feel sated. It makes you feel like, oh, gee, that was good. That sort of feeling in your tummy, but it makes you feel happy.
I do get those feelings now and again, especially with the beer.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. I'll have one more.
Just one, yeah. So with fibromyalgia, going back even 5 years ago, no one could get diagnosed with it. Maybe 10 years ago, doctors are sort of catching on that, gee, there might be something to it. But I remember speaking to a Belgian researcher about probably 10 years ago at a conference, and he was saying that because he's been treating it since the 1970s, and he was a psychiatrist, so he used to get everyone who the doctors said, oh, you're in pain but nothing's showing up in your blood test, let's send you off to a shrink. So basically that was the first line of defence. If you're in pain and it couldn't be found in the blood test, people must be crazy. So therefore a lot of people for like 20, 30 years were really having no medical treatment for it because nothing could show up in the blood tests. Yeah, and this guy actually started a whole bunch of testing processes where he thought, well, there's got to be something. So he put together over a period of like 5 years or something, all the blood works from all these people coming in chronic pain who couldn't find anything wrong in blood work. And what he found was, and this will be no surprise, that just say their magnesium was always within normal levels or their zinc was always within normal levels. What he found was that they needed higher amounts of those. Because they were in pain all the time, their need was higher. Exactly. So therefore, just because something's within normal range doesn't mean your body doesn't have a higher need for it. So if you're in pain, you need magnesium because magnesium is a muscle relaxant. So therefore, just because it shows up okay in the blood test doesn't mean you don't need it.
Are you looking at my black eye?
We had a fight before the hour.
No, I didn't. There was a little accident at home.
Those darn doorknobs.
That's what I'm wearing.
Those doorknobs at 6'4".
Yeah, but back to fibro. My friend, she's lost a lot of use of her lower limbs. Does it mainly affect lower limbs or any part of the body?
It can affect anywhere in the body, and there's actually pictures that you can see online. If you Google fibromyalgia images, you'll see these images where they show the pressure points through the body, and basically if you go round and you press those and you get like 80% of them, you've probably got fibromyalgia. But people with fibro tell me there's no spot on their body that isn't sore. It doesn't seem to and sometimes it's nerves. So sometimes it's joints, sometimes it's muscle, but sometimes it's all three as well. And these people are just in pain all the time, so they do everything they can to avoid doing something that causes them pain.
But there is light at the end of the tunnel.
There really is, because basically the poor little cells aren't making ATP. So for a start, the muscle quality isn't that great in the body. So you've got to improve the muscle quality, and it's challenging to do when you're in pain, but it's doing things like aqua aerobics, moving where there's not high resistance. You want to do things in the pool is fantastic, because then it's low resistance and you can move your body without pain.
So you've got to keep movement up.
Absolutely, because as soon as you don't keep the movement up, your muscles are going to start to shrink, and you're going to tighten your ligaments and tendons. So and then it's harder to move your joints as well. So with fibro, if you don't keep moving, and I know it's painful, some people are better off taking something like, say, natural anti-inflammatories or drug ones if that suits people.
What's a natural anti-inflammatory?
Well, things like the turmeric, curcumin, that sort of thing. So, and ginger and willow bark, salagesic, that sort of thing. So basically nutrients that have it. Yeah, so good old willow bark's been used for thousands of years. In high enough, it's basically a natural form of aspirin without the side effects of aspirin. So you know how if people take too big a dose of aspirin, it can cause, say, blood eyes or bruising or that sort of thing?
I take a little aspirin every night, just a small one.
Just a small one.
About 5 scotches.
Says me looking at your eye. So something like aspirin, that's where doctors sort of need to keep an eye on people, because if they're starting to bruise too much, quite often the levels are too high. Yeah. So you've got to keep an eye on that sort of thing, of course. Willow bark, in herbal combinations, it doesn't have the same side effects of aspirin because it's a natural herb. And probably the thing people might not realise about natural herbs is that they end up, there's a combination of things in the herbs that basically end up counterbalancing each other. So, for example, with willow bark, yes, you're going to get the blood thinning, and yes, you're going to get the pain relieving, but you might not actually get the things like the bruising. And once again, naturopathically, we would keep an eye on the bruising going on as well at the same time. So there's things like that. There's stuff like turmeric, lots of turmeric tablets, ginkgo tablets, things like ginger gets the circulation going. But one of my favourite things is magnesium with people who are in pain. So getting a magnesium that will get directly into the muscle to help to relax the muscle fibres in the body.
The GPs,
yes,
they use, of course, all sorts of drugs. Just what are some of them?
Oh, like even things like good old Panadols and Panadine forts and those type of things, they're going to give people some relief. And a lot of people wake up in the morning and just take whatever their doctor has prescribed in the morning, 1 or 2 in the morning, and that will help to get them through the day. And that's fine if their body copes with the drug. A lot of people just feel totally dazed and unable to cope once they've taken those pain meds. Have you taken many pain meds over the years?
Hardly ever.
Yeah, I had a mole removed once and I needed to have some painkillers, but man, it hurt my kidneys. And I thought because I hardly ever take them, I sort of thought I would get away with taking them.
Harshly.
Yeah, it reacted really harshly in my body, whereas I know some people manage to take them without any side effects. But a lot of people, those drugs need to be taken on a full stomach because weak gut ulcerations is one of the side effects of a lot of pain drugs, and also things long term when we're taking them, they can deteriorate the brain and the joints. So once again, it's sort of like making sure you're doing something to protect your joints every day as well.
All right, we'll continue that, and I want to ask you a question which a lot of people partake in every day, a question all about fish oil tablets right after this.